Yo, what is up? Today, well, first off, happy Thursday, right? Happy hot as hell Thursday here in the Midwest, or probably anywhere because it's just ridiculous out. Don't have the camera on because I'm literally naked because I'm having a heat stroke. Um, but yeah, today there was some questions that I got from like Reddit and some other places, and I read them and I'm responding to them. So kind of the gist of what this is going to be is like a overarching view of TVT and some different things you should like look for and try to do, and just a general framework that you can take and use and then apply your own style and your own little things that you like to do with the framework in place, right? So it's kind of just like some milestones that you want to hit, and then the rest of it you can kind of freestyle or do what you want to do or just copy what I do, or whoever you want. So the most basic part we have here is, because there's going to be a specific opening and then just some specific, very basic things you go for. First thing is a two reaper attack. This is a really fast cyclone opener, which makes it really safe and also makes it so you have lots of different attack options. But the thing is, you're skipping any units out of the factory, and you're only making two Reapers. So whenever you're playing against an expand, you always attack with the two Reapers, even if you're counter-attacking and they're attacking with their own, because you're never going to have more units than them at that phase of the game. So if they are attacking you, you also have to attack to get some damage done, because you're never going to be able to hold off, like if they have a Hellion or if they make uh, like more than two Reapers. So you always want to counterattack and get your own damage done. Then you go for two Cyclones and a Medevac, and then you can decide exactly what you're dropping with or how you're attacking, or if you're pushing the front. I personally like to put one Cyclone into the Medevac, four Marines, leave one Cyclone at home for defense as you get your tank and Raven out. But there's lots of possibilities, and you can play it by ear. Then you get a third CC. Then you add on two barracks. You start your stim. You switch your starport to the reactor. You get two E base. Take your third base, and then you get up to five barracks. So that is the general. That is your general milestones that you want to hit. Every time you get done with one of these things, you want to be looking to the next, right? Okay, did I do my two Reapers? Okay, do I have two Cyclones? Okay, getting a tank, getting a Raven. Okay, do I have money? Get my third CC. Okay, what do I need now? Two barracks, right? This is just the very basics of what you're supposed to be doing. So, got a couple replays picked out. The TVT, I'm pretty good at TVT. TVT is my best matchup. It makes sense to me. There's uh, there's no imbalanced units like in some of the other matchups to ruin your day. So if you have the skill and the brain knowledge, you can do some good stuff in it. Let me just find a good spot to put the little timings. Okay. So basic build order is 16 barracks, 16 gas. So 16 barracks, 16 gas. I'll just go over the build order on the first one, so in case anybody needs to get it down. And then you rally your next worker to the gas, so that's 17 gas. And then you rally command center across the map right here to the ramp, because you want to see, are they proxy barracksing you? Like, do they have barracks at home? Are they also just going for a double gas 111, or are they going for a fast command center, like one gas fast command center? And in this case, my opponent is doing the same exact thing, but you'll need to react slightly differently. So if they are going for if you come up and there's no barracks and you look around, there's no barracks, you go one Reaper, then you start making Marines. When your Reaper comes out, you take two SCVs and you pull them with your Reaper over to where a Reaper could jump in. You get your factory right away, and you go Marine, Hellion, and you need to play it by ear a little bit, but you should be able to hold it off with Marines and Hellions, and then you can get your own starport and start your own expansion. But I go up and I see that there's a second depot, and the barracks at home means he's just going for a double gas. So everything perfect right now. Uh, just because I think we missed it. When you start your factory, you pull two workers out of one gas and another worker out of the other. So you pull a total of three workers out of gas. The depot after the barracks, orbital right away, Reaper, and then as you start this factory, you go down the one and two. So two guys in this one guy in that one, and you're gonna add those workers back in after you build your CC. So killing the SCV is nice, especially because I mean now I'm just ahead by one worker. You should never. That's why you only rally to right here. You never go inside the base because you'll lose the SCV. This is really bad by my opponent. This is very small brain, pushing across with the Reaper. Especially after he saw that I'm going for two Reapers, it's just really dumb. I didn't happen to get it this time, but he does end up paying the price for it because he's already got damage taken on his Reaper, and he's pulling back to his other Reaper, and I'm going straight across to attack. So I'm first. I'm way way ahead of him, and I'm going to get a lot more SCV kills because of it. But he's doing the same exact build, so you know. And this is where it goes back to why I'm like, you always wait to two Reapers and always push, because he took damage on his first Reaper and had to kind of go around my Reapers to go into my base because he didn't want to like engage with my Reapers. He missed out on a lot of time. I'm going straight in and I'm going to get more damage done. So he does end up paying for it. But we're going for the same exact build. And I'm just so much faster. And my Cyclone's a little faster. Okay. Starport starts. I didn't go over it in the build. Sorry. This is going to be a little bit of a ramble, a little bit of a brain dump. Uh, I know. Where is it? After you get your two Reapers, you get your add-ons, right? You get your tech lab immediately on the factory. I'm sorry. Did I even say when the CC went down? I'm getting ahead of myself. CC goes down on 24 with the SCV that comes back from scouting. So he just chills there for a minute and he starts it on 24. Let's one thing at a time. Let's build first. CC goes down. Guys go back in gas. You build your add-ons, and then you build a depot. And then the guy who builds the depot comes over here to build the starport. But you get your Cyclone first. And you're going to be microing when it happens, so you just do it to the best of your ability. You just keep in your mind, I need my starport, okay? I started my Cyclone. I'm A moving into his base. Just try and keep an eye up here and get your starport as fast as you can. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's not going to hurt anything if it's not perfect. See, I have money to build it, right? But I'm killing some SCVs, right? But I go back, I start to build it. He kills it though, so no worries, right? We're just trying to trade more effectively than he is, or at least be even. Let's go kill something. Not all the games are this hectic. I'll show another game that's not this hectic. So we go into our cyclone, but it's really your two reapers, you attack, right? Your two cyclones out, you're attacking or defending. It's the time to do these is like when you have the units, right? So, and as you get better, you'll become more and more
Command
effective with it,
center
right? But
upgrade
it's like,
complete.
okay, two cyclones out. I'm gonna this game. I'm pushing across the map with two cyclones, and I am doing a drop with the Marines. And the reason is because a little bit meta, but normally this guy only goes for one cyclone. So if you have two and they have one, you'd rather be across the map because then you can catch stuff out, get a little pick off, and then these across. Okay, we did our two cyclones. We did our medevac. What do we get next? Tanks and ravens. And you build the gas as soon as the command center is done. As soon as you morph the orbital. Right. So we're just following along with our framework right now. Right. Tank at home for defense. Uh, I always siege my first siege tank in range of where they could be doing a siege tank push, right? Because the other build, one of the builds is two cyclone, and that's the build I generally prefer to use. But in the other build, you get a siege tank, and then you get a cyclone, and you load up four marines in your siege tank, and you try and drop them right here and attack, anything that's in range. So to counter that, as soon as I get my siege tank, I siege it up here, right? And so my plan is if he attacks the natural with too much, I'm gonna box everything into the main and leave. Uh, and if he attacks here, I have my siege tank here, and then I'm getting vision with the marine. And if you need to, you might need to scan or something if they kill the marine, but you should get the first shot up. And some players who aren't on top of it as much as they should be, or who are just YOLOing in, will drop the siege tank right here and start to siege it. And if they do that, they auto lose the engagement. So just a little positioning thing. He goes for some real bizarre uh, position. I drops it actually in my natural. I'm dropping in his main. My third CC started because we have the money, right? To get your third CC as soon as you can. So I sent my cyclones home. If my cyclones were home, they just instant get that. They clean this up, 0 damage. But I was just not on top of it, and I had my cyclones at the front to try and kind of like kite his army backwards, but we ended up just going around each other, which is just the nature of TvT, right? So you do what you can. Okay. So now we're a bit low on workers. This is a bit of a scrappy game. And because of that, I only get my one Raven, and then I go for Vikings because if it's a scrappy game, you want to be playing the position as much as possible. And Vikings are something that let you play the position, and you see I'm rallying across because now I'm gonna try to siege up this spot because I know I'm going Vikings. I saw he was still making a Raven at home. I didn't see this. I didn't see that he only made one Raven and then switched to nothing, which ends up being the death sentence for him. But because I saw how late his Raven was and he was still making Ravens and the game was getting scrappy, that's why I decided to only go for one Raven. Because I don't know how even we are right now. I don't know that it's actually like that even. But it did get a little weird, so I just want to use position as much as possible. And he really pays for this. I mean, he pays hard for skipping Vikings and for wasting his Raven energy. That's another thing. As soon as someone comes in and wastes their Raven energy on SCVs, and you just pull them away and save them, in my head, I'm just like, okay, I need to go. He's not going to be able to interference matrix all my tanks. He does. He might not even have the Raven there for an auto turret or anything else. I need to go just get position and try to trade what I can, which is what we do. And we are so colossally ahead. Like, I have a third base, he doesn't have a third base. He's going for some weird stem timing thing, but it's like I'm attacking him with three bases while he's on two base, and he's trying to go for an attack, which is why you want to play TvT like me and not like these bums like this guy, because this is not it. And, floating a little bit of money, I should be building my barracks at home now that I've caught up in economy. But I'm a little late because I'm microing. And then I see that his army might have went this way and might be going for a counterattack, so I changed the rally to home. And I'm totally fine to just hold in my main. Like, I don't need to put these siege tanks on the low ground, because then maybe I get sieged up here, right? Pushes in here and sieges me up here, and then can start dropping units in the main. So I already know I'm doing damage, right? I already know I'm in a better position because I see no third base landed. So I will just hold in my main. All I have to do is hold. All I have to do is live. But he's not going for the counterattack. He's going for my units. So, yeah, we don't take the best trade, but we get that information, and it buys us a lot of time at home to continue making units. It's just ticking away right now. I have a third base. I have more SCVs. I have more production. He's really all in with this. And I know I'm not in a rush. I know I'm ahead, right? Whenever you're ahead, never be in a rush to engage, right? I might have been able to fight this. I might have been able to drop auto. Do I still have my Raven? No, I left my Raven. I might have been able to siege my tanks, land my Vikings, and fight this. But why, right? There's no reason to. We're so far ahead. So I lift up. And move. YOLO's into my main. No problem. He might be able to get a little damage done with this, but he's never going to win the game off this. And I made a Liberator because I have Viking lead. And then he pulls his army back. And he's not making Vikings anyways. And I think I know my production is more, and I know I'm going to just have more stuff in general. So instead of using this Liberator to like slowly siege him up, I send the Liberator into the main as like distraction, because when they're distracted is when you want to try to take like better position or surprise them or sneak up on them. And I'm just outplaying them positionally. I just have more vision, more everything. So now I want to just end the game because it's been over for a while. Liberator goes into main. Just attacking them. So there's not much else to see. It was pretty straightforward. What happened in this one? See, I'll do 3 replays. That way we'll see like a couple different scenarios you can wind up in, and like the thought process behind doing what I do. I don't think I need the overlay anymore. Hopefully everybody's got the gist of it. We will hide the text. Okay, 16 gas, 17 gas, rally worker. Doing same exact build again. See the 2 depots, that means it's all good. Reaper goes to the front. CC starts. Oh, I made a Hellion this time. That's fine. I think I made a Hellion this game because this was the second game we played. And I wanted to see if I could just maybe get more damage done with it, but not really. I kill the worker building the CC. And I don't lose anything, I keep it all alive. Go home. So I know his Reaper, these are just small TvT positional things. I know his Reapers were still alive, so I was keeping my army up here. Then we just go into the main with everything. We have units at home to defend. Took a cost-effective trade. See, the thought process behind it is just, this is the TvT meta. This is how you try to do damage to each other. You try and defend at home and do damage to each other with a medevac. And I'm playing the meta well. He's not, so he ends up taking damage. He ends up a little bit behind. My CC's faster. I traded more cost effectively than him, and I'm ahead in SCV. So and then I realized I had him slightly out of position. So again, I only went for one Raven, and I'm like, well, let's just see what we can get done with, you know, a siege tank in a certain spot. Don't actually get that much done because the tank gets vision of that. But I saved my units, I saved the important stuff. And I'm just ahead of him with my build. I'm so far ahead with my build. It's just a difference in execution. I'm starting my fourth and fifth barracks when he's starting his second and third, you know. That's another reason I like to do this style, is because even though, well, it's the, not just me likes to do the style, it's the meta to do this, is because if you're better or faster than your opponent, you can just end up ahead because they're so worried about like the stuff that's going on in their base, even though he's holding it off without taking really almost no damage after the second attack because he ended up ahead. But I'm just ahead in everything else. So it's like trading maybe a slightly worse trade to just be more ahead in the whole game. Made a liberator. I do this a lot. So a lot of times it's like 4 or 5 Vikings. And if they're making their own Vikings, you just don't make a liberator. But because this guy's particular style is like always to like not make Vikings for some reason, he has 3 Ravens, he has no Vikings, right? Or he goes straight into medevacs. A lot of times you can use the liberator either with your army or to harass later on. But if they are making their own Vikings, you just don't do it, right? So that's like the decision making behind it, because if they're making their own Vikings, and you can do it if you get the Viking lead, but if you're both even in Vikings, you just never do it. If you're just sitting back macroing, but that was not the case for these games. So then it's really balls in my court. I can do whatever I want here. Let's just go from his point of view. Let's just see how it feels. Right, so I siege the Liberator up. He thinks, oh shoot, an attack might be coming at his base. I move the Liberator. He gets back to mining. Liberator's going into the main, so now he's sending units into the main. And I'm realizing this, right? So I sent my medevacs to his natural because I saw that all he had there was his Ravens. Whereas if I didn't see that, if I saw he had a bunch of army here, I would have went into the main, right? And I lose tanks. This wasn't even like a good, smart trade, really. But we're just out multitasking him. The Liberator went back into his main. I'm doing drops on his third on his siege tanks. Liberator resieges up. I have a whole bunch of army coming through right here. I have my army rallied over to the third. Because I'm just being where he's not right now, which is a big skill in TvT. A big deciding factor is like taking opportunities where and creating opportunities, and most of that comes from just uh, having the right place of the right stuff at the right place at the right time, and that comes from when you're doing all these little attacks and pokes. You pick up where the information is, right? So like if I see his whole army's right here, I'm going to try and drop into the main. If I see his whole army's over here, I'm going to try and drop over here. If I see no army and then one of my drops comes and there's no army, I'm going to be at home going, oh shit, he's doom dropping me or he's counter attacking me, right? So these are all like little reads you need to constantly be making. And I'm sure when if you're below grandmaster level, it becomes a lot more basic, a lot more simple. Just like, is his army home or is his army attacking me? And if his army's at home, you want to just have one or two things. So like, let's say this is playing versus a diamond player, right? We don't need to do anything fancy. I see that I send two medevacs out and I see that his army's home. I'm just going to leave my two medevacs here, and every once in a while I'm going to poke in, and then as soon as I see that his army's not here anymore, I'm going to run in with those, and then I'm going to be staring at my main base to see where his attack is, right? That's like a more simplified version of what's going on right now. This is just like a higher level game that's going on where like his specific units were pulling out of position and then dropping on siege tanks that are undefended or putting liberators in spots that are hard to get into. So, but that's just the general thought process behind it. But and we don't need to watch the rest of this game because he just turtles and just he has no chance of winning, but he just makes the game drag out. But game is won at this point, right? So far ahead, fourth base, all the barracks. We can start adding on more production, ahead in upgrades, ahead in everything, and pull them out of position everywhere. So I hope these like ramblings are not incoherent and they're actually like kind of useful. I think they should be to some people because a lot of people not that good at TvT. I noticed because it's more of a skill based matchup and people are used to YOLOing. But if you can just understand like the general things you want to be doing and why they're good, and then like what to do with the information you get, you can just beat everybody. This is a game versus ForGG, who I think is the best TvT player on NA after me, of course. It's same thing. This one, I've been kind of all over the place. In this one, I'll just explain what I'm thinking from my point of view. So I'll just let it unfold from my position, and say why I'm doing the things I'm doing. So first off, didn't SCV scout because 4GG never cheeses me. Difference number one from my point. It means I'm going to get a slightly faster CC, and the build's just going to be slightly farther along. The cyclone is going to be a little bit quicker. Everything's just going to work a little bit quicker. Because I didn't scout though, just to be safe, I did check the proxy locations. There was nothing there. I didn't expect to find anything there. CC down, putting guys back in gas. Getting my tech lab, getting my depot. Second Reaper out. Boom, let's go. It's go time. I want to see what he has. I want to trade if he's trading with me or if he's sitting at home. I still want to try to kill an SCV or two.
Add-on complete.
Cyclone at home, rallied into the main just in case he's counterattacking with Reapers. Right, everything's rallied up here. Not you don't rally it down here. Right, screw the CC. The CC you can send another SCV down if they poke with their Reapers. Right, if when their Reapers go into their main, that's what you want to catch to minimize as much damage as possible. If I get in, I see that it's a build that he was going for extra Hellions and Reapers. Kill the starport first. Focus firing workers. Okay. It looks like he's going for 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions,
Complete.
which means that I need to be safe at home now. So most likely the Cyclone is going to go to the low ground and the Marines are going to go into the main. Yep, just being very careful with my Cyclone. being ready for if he attacks into the natural or if he attacks into the high ground. Okay, we see the Hellion. We grab the Hellion. And then, yep, we already know the Reapers are there. But that's fine. The Reapers are only killing Marines right now. So that was totally 100% awesome defense. Way ahead. Way ahead with the workers that we killed. Get Cyclone out. Medevac, you know, just doing the build.
Command center upgrade complete.
This particular game, I wanted a faster Raven, so I switched add-ons. Not a big deal. Do not read into this or be like, oh my god, like should I do this or should I do the other way? Really does not matter. It's a slight, small difference to get my Raven faster. Game command center. And the big thing about this like new meta where you are constantly like harassing with medevacs and stuff is it gives you a lot of information too. So it really lets you like know where you stand. And what do I see? I see barracks. I see no command center and I see him building barracks. I'm just doing my best to try and get damage done. So I see a Banshee at my natural, no problem. I have 2 Cyclones, right? Just send the other Cyclone to it. Trying to kill his workers there. Check back at home, because I didn't look for a second. See that I killed the Banshee, and his siege tank kills my Cyclone. But so now we're at a jumping off point, right? Because and this is a little bit I'm just aware of how ForGG plays because we play a lot of games. But I saw extra barracks in his base with no command center, which means what? It means he wants to YOLO medevacs and siege tanks into my main base, right? So you have 2 options at that point, right? Option 1 is you counterattack and you try to take an efficient trade before they're able to just YOLO into your base or be like flying all over, pinning you back, right? Denying you from taking your third, right? Which is a very crappy, dangerous situation to be in. So I decide instead that I'm gonna try and siege him up here, right? I'm gonna try and siege him up here and try to take a good trade against him and give me time back at home to get production and other units up. If that makes sense, right? Because if I just sit back at home and play defensive, he gets all the information. He gets to deny me from everything. I don't want that to happen, so I instead attack before his attack comes out. Trying to nullify his advantage in like medevacs and speed that he has for a short period of time. So I only do 1 Raven because we're going to need the Vikings. Start rallying the Vikings straight across the map. Have the medevac for vision. And it puts him in an interesting spot too, because then he has to decide, do I use my stuff to defend at home or do I go for a counterattack?
Command center upgrade complete.
And I control this really, really well in his base. Like he sieges up to try and defend. I lift everything, drop it on the tank, use the Raven. I'm already worried because I see so few units at his base, so I'm already worried. And I'm here. Sorry, because I saw so few units at his base, like no Marines and stuff. I'm already changed my rally point into my base, right? Because I'm like, oh shit, he's just going for the counterattack, right?
Command center upgrade.
So like we'll see these rally points change, right? Boom, they're in my base now. We're getting into like kind of base trade scenario. And there it is in my main. So then we need to just
Our
micro the
SCVs
best we
are
can.
under attack.
I pull all the SCVs and all the units. Killing the medevac's really important because then he eventually I'm going to clean this up right, which is why I didn't land the Vikings right away. I'm just doing what we can. So we do fall slightly behind in workers, right? But we have three command centers. We took all the oomph out of his build. His build was looking to do game ending damage and win the
Base
game right
is
now,
under attack.
and it didn't at all. It traded evenly, and I still have a third, and I have my own stim. So now I'm just way ahead. Pretty much the game is over at this point.
Research complete.
I continue here. Sorry, I'm like speeding past just to walk through
Base
the thought
is under
process.
attack.
Um,
Base is under attack.
I see how shit of a position he's in at his own base. So I end up just making a bunch of Vikings and Liberators and trying to get this position again. And we just out position him here, and then pretty much keep him on in a game in a losing position. So yeah, that's the gist of it. I know it's kind of complicated and it can seem like a lot, but if you just start doing this style, you'll die to stuff, right? You'll most likely at the beginning you'll die to stuff, but then you'll slowly build up like the awareness of like, oh, I died, you know, oh, this person did a banshee, or oh, this person was doing the drop and I didn't react correctly. But eventually you'll find yourself in a position where like even if you mess some stuff up, you know what you want to be doing against everything that you end up seeing with your reapers, seeing with your drop and scouting, and you'll kind of, you know, you'll hopefully be able to develop your own way to play. So hopefully this was helpful and not just more confusing. If anybody has any other questions, message me on StarCraft. I'm gonna be putting this up on a YouTube channel. Message me on Twitch, wherever, you know, because I'm more than happy to answer any questions or clarify things or explain things that I didn't explain good enough, or even look at your own replays if you want to send some in. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitch and YouTube. And yeah, catch you on the next one. I'm gonna go eat some goddamn waffles right now. Later.